One country, 17,000 islands. The third largest rainforest on Earth. The largest gold and copper deposit ever discovered. Massive oil and gas reserves. Rubber, tin, palm oil, spices that Europeans went to war over for 4 centuries. Indonesia had everything. And in 1965, in a single night, the man trying to keep all of it inside Indonesia was removed. What followed was one of the largest mass killings of the 20th century, and the country that funded it called itself the leader of the free world. Indonesia gained independence from the Dutch in 1945 after 350 years of colonial rule. 350 years of spices, rubber, oil, and agricultural wealth flowing out of the archipelago and into Dutch and British corporate accounts. The man who led Indonesia to independence was Sukarno. And Sukarno understood something that made him dangerous to every Western government watching. He understood that political independence without economic independence was not freedom. It was just a change of management. So Sukarno nationalized Dutch corporate holdings. He launched the Non-Aligned Movement, a coalition of newly independent Asian and African nations that refused to take sides between America and the Soviet Union. He hosted the Bandung Conference in 1955, bringing 29 nations together in Indonesia to declare that the colonial era was over and the developing world would chart its own course. 29 nations. One conference. One clear message. We are not your resources anymore. Washington heard that message very clearly. The CIA opened a file on Sukarno immediately. American oil companies, which had significant interests in Indonesian oil fields, began lobbying the State Department to act. Shell and other Western energy corporations with Indonesian operations made their concerns known at the highest levels. The calculation in Washington was simple. Sukarno was not a communist, but he was doing things that made Western corporate interests uncomfortable. And in 1960s Washington, uncomfortable was close enough. The CIA began cultivating relationships with Indonesian military officers. General Suharto was among them. A powerful, disciplined military figure who shared none of Sukarno's Pan-African Pan-Asian idealism. Suharto understood power in the most direct possible terms. And the CIA understood Suharto. On the night of October 1st, 1965 military units moved through Jakarta before dawn. By morning the coup was announced. General Suharto, positioning himself as the man restoring order, moved to consolidate control. What followed over the next 12 months was not a political transition. It was a massacre. The Indonesian Communist Party, which had 3 million members and was the largest communist party outside China and the Soviet Union, was targeted for elimination. Not just party leadership, members, suspected members, people whose names appeared on lists. Those lists, and this is confirmed in declassified American documents, were provided in part by the CIA to the Indonesian military. Names, addresses, organizational roles. American intelligence handed the Indonesian military a kill list. Between 500,000 and 1 million Indonesians were killed between 1965 and 1966. 500,000 to 1 million people. In 1 year. This is one of the largest mass killings of the 20th century. It is taught in almost no Western school curriculum, because the government that funded it won. Within months of Suharto consolidating power, the Western corporations were back. American oil companies renegotiated Indonesian oil access on terms far more favorable than anything Sukarno had allowed. Freeport-McMoRan, an American mining corporation, was granted rights to the Grauberg deposit in Papua. The Grauberg mine, the largest gold deposit and the third largest copper deposit on Earth. Freeport has extracted an estimated $100 billion worth of gold and copper from Papuan soil since 1967. The Papuan communities living beside the mine, one of the wealthiest pieces of land on the planet, remain among the poorest and most marginalized people in Indonesia. The mine tailings from Freeport's operation have contaminated over 200 square kilometers of lowland river and forest ecosystem. The environmental destruction is visible from space. None of the people whose land was consumed by it have received adequate compensation. Not $1 proportional to what was taken. And while Freeport was extracting from Papua, Suharto was extracting from Indonesia. For 32 years, Suharto ran one of the most systematically corrupt governments in modern history. His children, Tommy Suharto, Tutut Suharto, Bambang Trihatmajo, were handed government monopolies, state contracts, and business licenses that made the family one of the wealthiest in Asia. Tommy Suharto was convicted of ordering the assassination of a Supreme Court judge who had ruled against him. He served 4 years. 4 years for ordering a murder. Estimates of the total wealth looted by the Suharto family and their network range from $15 billion to $35 billion. $15 to $35 billion extracted from one of the most resource-rich nations on Earth, while ordinary Indonesians lived in poverty. The World Bank and IMF continued lending to Suharto throughout. Western governments continued selling him weapons. Western corporations continued operating under the favorable terms his regime had granted them. Because the arrangement worked for everyone except the Indonesian people. In 1997, the Asian financial crisis exposed the rotten foundation beneath Suharto's economic model. The Indonesian rupiah collapsed. Poverty spiked overnight, and the people finally moved. In May 1998, Indonesian students filled the streets of Jakarta in their millions, demanding Suharto resign. He resigned on May 21, 1998. 32 years of dictatorship ended by students in the streets. But Suharto died in 2008 without facing a single criminal conviction for the billions looted or the hundreds of thousands killed in 1965. Not one conviction. The men who gave the CIA the authority to provide those lists to the Indonesian military. Men like CIA Director William Rayburn and senior State Department officials who signed off on the operation, retired with full pensions and government honors. The Indonesian people are still waiting for a reckoning that has never come. The Odd Archive has already named the names others were afraid to say. Cecil Rhodes, Jacob Zuma, Marcos, Imelda, Abacha, Diazani, Suharto, Tommy Suharto, William Rayburn. And we are not done. Do you want us to keep calling out the criminals in politics? The ones with documented records, the ones who looted while people starved? In every future video, comment yes below if you are ready. We have already exposed Nigeria, Gaddafi, Jamaica, India, Guyana, Canada, Iran, the Philippines, Venezuela, Guatemala, Trinidad, Ghana, Cuba, and South Africa. Every single story follows the same architecture. Find the resource. Remove whoever protects it for the people. Install whoever opens it to foreign extraction. Suppress the evidence. And when the country eventually asks why it is still poor, tell them it is their own fault. Indonesia is the most complete version of that story in Asia, and we are choosing the next country from your comments. Drop a comment right now. Tell me where you are watching from. Tell me which country's buried history you want us to expose next. Share this video immediately. Someone in your life has never heard of the 1965 Indonesian massacre. Someone in your life does not know that American intelligence provided a kill list that led to the deaths of up to 1 million people. One share changes that. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, search official The Odd Archive, and turn on notifications so nothing gets past you. Follow this page. Share. Comment your country. Because the next story we are dropping, the cover-up is so recent that the people responsible are still alive, still collecting, still protected, and we found the documents.